Hi, I'm Cierra Bettens. This is APTN News InFocus. On this episode, we're here at our Montreal studio for a behind-the-scenes look at APTN Nouvelles National, our weekly French language news program.
Tunisugeti, Kwekwe, bonjour, je m'appelle Kim Sullivan. Je vous souhaite la bienvenue à APTN Nouvelles National.
That was the voice of Kim Sullivan, the host of APTN Nouvelles National. Nearly 7 years ago, APTN launched the world's first Indigenous news broadcast en français. Now, every Friday, Kim and the Nouvelles team bring our top stories to our French-speaking viewers. From the Abenaki to the Innu, there's a real diversity of Indigenous communities here in Quebec. And many speak French in addition to Indigenous languages. And beyond Quebec, French is also spoken by many Michif folks in the prairies. But why is French language content important for the communities APTN serves? And what goes on behind the scenes at Nouvelles National? So to explore this, I'm joined by the host of Nouvelles herself, Kim Sullivan. Kim, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for being here. You're getting a real look at behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets those little secrets of ours, but we'll open up that little box for you today.
Awesome. Well, very excited to get started. So my first question for you, Nouvelles aired its first segment in 2019. I'm wondering if you could talk about the core vision of Nouvelles National.
I've only been a host producer for the last year and a half now, but our core values and our core mission has always been to serve the French-speaking population of our country. We know that this is a big country, so many different communities. In Quebec alone, there's 42 different communities, 14 different languages. So it's very important for us to be able to represent everyone. And being that our country is a bilingual country, I think it was top of mind that French be one of the languages that news is broadcast in. So we're very proud to be representing that minority, but still a strong language that we have throughout the country. And we have such a big population where that Indigenous language is the first language, but French is the second. So at least we get to serve them, whereas English might be a third or fourth language. So we're very excited to be that voice of that population that maybe was not served before.
Mm-hmm. And, what are some of the communities that APTN Nouvelles National covers and serves?
We cover nationally anybody, but the French speakers are very concentrated in the Innu Nation, the Abenaki, the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe. You'll find a lot of French speakers there. Of course, Quebec does have, or on the territory of Quebec, there's Nunavik, which is the Inuit. Most of those are English speakers first, French second, or French third, depending, most likely Inuktitut first, English second, and French third. So, but we do still serve them. We will do it in English with French subtitles to be able to serve their communities better. Same with the two communities the closest to Montreal. It's Ganawage and Kanesatake, which are Mohawk, both mostly English speakers or bilingual, or trilingual again, if we count the Indigenous language. So we serve them as well as serving the ones that are core, Francophone viewers.
Awesome. And who are some of the people behind the scenes at Nouvelles that make the show happen every Friday?
Well, we are a small team in Montreal, but I keep saying we're small and mighty. We have myself as the host producer, my associate producer, who's also cameraman and editor, Robbie Burden. We have Jonah, who's operating the cam now. He can give us a little nod with the camera there. Jonah, who is our cameraman and editor as well. And then Stéphanie de Sèvres, who's our newest journalist. She came from a huge background of TV in Quebec and has this angle where she just loves to give that voice to somebody, which is nice because sometimes the news is just about reporting the news. It's not about listening to that voice. And Stephanie has that touch of being able to go get that voice. So that's really cool. And then we do kind of kidnap our English APTN News reporter, Savannah Craig, that often does stories for the English side. Well, we'll use her here on the French side as well. And her cameraman, editor, who actually worked on Nouvelles for 6 years and put the show together, Jeff Dorn. So we're 6, but we're mighty. We're there, and we try to do our best.
Yeah, definitely a small team, but very mighty, as I think anyone that's watched Nouvelles can attest to. I'm also wondering, what's sort of happening with choosing the top stories? How do you choose what you think will be most important for Nouvelles viewers?
It's hard for us because we are a weekly show. So we're not a daily news show. So often we find that by Friday, that story has been done. So the powerful thing about Nouvelles is that we get to go in depth. Whereas in daily APTN news, sometimes it's okay, we're reporting what we know today. Whereas we can at least take 2-3 days, maybe even a month, to find that angle that would go deep dive into that topic. So I find that our stories are much more topical in the sense that they will be more features, are more in depth. But we do cover the daily news as well. If something happens during the week, we do want to report it, especially if it's extremely important to our viewers. So it's going to be a mix mash of both, but we are a news magazine, so it allows us to have that bigger door of being able to do those features and those stories where it grips the heart. And it doesn't have to be a 2-minute report. It could be a 5-minute or 4-minute report, which is a nice liberty that we have. But we only have half an hour a week. So it's very hard to pick and choose. We often say, oh, we wish we had more time because we don't get to air this or we don't get to air that. So it's challenging. There's those two sides of the medal. It's challenging because we would want to be able to talk to everybody and about everybody and everything that's happened in a week. But at the same time, if we want to give justice to doing those beautiful features and those beautiful stories, then we need more time for them. So we do skip on some things. So it is a bit different from that daily grind.
Right. What have you heard from viewers of Nouvelles about, just the importance of the program and having French language content available on APTN?
Well, we've been hearing amazing things, and it's exciting because we are doing more and more shows in community, and to have people come up to you and just say thank you for that story. Or even on our social media, on TikTok or on Facebook. Those are places where we do have the most reach. And, our weekly show is Friday, 6:30. But we do see that our Facebook page right after and our TikTok articles that we put up, reports that we put up afterwards, get huge traction. And the comments that we're getting is often, thank you for showing that side of the story. Because again, not being in the daily news, sometimes we get to show that different angle. And also being the only Francophone dedicated newscast to Indigenous cultures and peoples. Many people finally see themselves, they're yeah, but there was the other angle that traditional media didn't touch upon. Whereas we go wait a minute, let's talk to this side of, so it's nice. It's been a really nice change of pace because I come from 20 years of traditional media, and I was scared to make the jump. I was scared to come to APTN Nouvelles National, not only because it was going to be in French for the first time and I worked in English all these years, but it was representing a population that I was okay, well, I'm Inuk. I am a minority in the province of Quebec. And will I understand the realities of the Innu, the Abenaki? Do I even know the issues? Do I even know but coming here and being able to be that voice and report on stories that no one reports on, that you're why are you not reporting on this? My first week doing a story about a 30-year water boiling advisory, and I'm how does this community have this still today? And so it's nice to be able to give that side of the story, to give that side of the news too. And I think it was very important. I think more and more people are realizing that Indigenous issues are everybody's issues, that the forest is not just the Indigenous forest, it's Quebec's forests, so it's nice to be able to give that angle. Of course, we do love the fact that Nunavut has French schools and has a French radio station so we try to go pick stories there. Manitoba has a beautiful French-speaking population, so we try to go get stories there. Being in a Montreal office, it's hard, but we do hear people from Manitoba or from Nunavut or even from BC that have said like, oh, it's great to have a French broadcast. So it's nice to be there, and it's nice to be the ones representing that voice.
Awesome. I wanted to play a clip from a report that you did in community last year at the I'm going to butcher this. Still practicing my French here in Montreal. L'Épétition des Premières Nations in La Tuque, Québec.
That was good!
Okay,
Give yourself more credit! L'Expédition des Premières Nations. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a skidoo event. Let's take a look.
Bienvenue aux Nouvelles nationales d'APTN, édition en communauté. Nous nous sommes déplacés à la TUC cette semaine pour le grand départ de la 3e édition de l'expédition Premières Nations sous le thème Rayonner ensemble. Cette année, l'aventure de 1000 km se va aussi faire du camping en motoneige pour nous parler un peu plus.
So you can really feel the energy and excitement in that broadcast. I'm wondering, what was that experience like, and how did it feel to, do it from the community, and how was it different?
It was my first in-show community. It was with our cameraman, editor Jeff Dorn, who has years of experience doing stuff like this, and it was just so much fun. They were so happy we were there. It's this ski-doo expedition that they do year after year, and that celebrates like reconciliation. And really, there's non-Indigenous folks, there's Indigenous folks, but it's just like this big team, and that's the goal of it. So they just included me, like if I was one of them. And again, when they get to see you in person and not behind a camera in a studio, they're like, oh my God, okay, like this is real. Like they really care about us. They really care about our news. They really care about our voice. They really care about me. It almost becomes, like it's almost the same way that radio can go reach the people because you speak to them. And like it's a way of like opening up TV and making us more accessible. And I have goosebumps just thinking about that first in community show, because we followed them in these tiny routes and went to some of their stops and didn't have internet, did a live interview like in beautiful middle of a forest with the new regional chief of the APNQL. It was out of this world. It was an experience that I will never forget. And we've done 2 other in community shows since. And each time it's just, you see people walking by, people stop just to watch us film because they're like, oh, it's APTN. And it's like cool for them to see us there in action. And I think that's that's one of our fortes, is to show that we are there. We're not just in studio. We're not just, unattainable news. We're community news. We're your voice, and we truly are, because we're in your backyard. So that's fun. We're hoping to do more and more and more. We're going up to Salouet, so we'll see if we can do one from there, but it would be really cool.
Awesome. Well, yeah, really looking forward to that. As we mentioned before, in Quebec, there's obviously a lot of Francophone communities, but we also have French-speaking Indigenous communities in places like Manitoba,
Yes.
Red River Métis.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, are you hoping that Nouvelles covers those community more, or, how do you want to reach those communities?
It's so hard because, like I said, our offices are in Montreal, and but we have you guys at APTN News that are based out of Winnipeg, and I love the collaboration that we do together, and I love that if there is a story like a new radio station opening, or you did a great story about the sweat hut and the stone, Sacred Stone it was called, if I remember well.
I remember that story.
And
I love doing that story.
Yeah, and well, the Archbishop spoke French, so like the fact that you just told me, hey, he speaks French, well, we got to do the interview with him in French, and it's fun to be able to get those little French voices coming from different areas. I would love to be able to reach out more. Like I wrote to our reporter Justin recently, and I said, hey, new radio station for the Francophone community up in Nunavut, like that would be a great interview. interview, and but we can't be everywhere. So we try if the other reporters that are, but just like the same problems as on the English side, I'm sure, is like we can't be everywhere. So if we have somebody somewhere, we're like, please do this for me, or please try. So we try to be a big team, and it often works. But in the future, I would love. I think the more people know us, I think they will start reaching out to us. I think like every time I meet somebody who's from the French speaking communities in Manitoba, the Red River Midi, or in Nunavut so far, and the one person I met out of BC, I'm like, write to us. If there's an interesting topic, if there's an interesting news story, even if it's covered in English, write to us, because we can have you give that French voice to it. We could flip the story, which means taking an English story and putting subtitles. That's easy to do. But for people to hear it in their language makes a whole difference. It's like when we do a report, that's why our language channel is so popular.
Mm-hmm.
People can hear Innu, can hear Inuktitut. So French, I've always felt the same way. Like if you can hear French, wow. So hopefully more people will reach out to us. Hopefully I will hear more about stories back there, back in those communities. But it is work that has to be done. It's hard when we're such a small team, but hopefully in the years to come, we will have more of those voices on the show.
Awesome. And you've had many really fascinating guests on Nouvelles. I'm wondering, can you tell us about some of them?
Oh boy. Florent Volant, who is a legend in Quebec. He's kind of like he was one of the duo of Casting, which was one of the first Indigenous bands to break commercial radio and play throughout Canada in the 90s, end of 80s, beginning of 90s. Like you could hear them everywhere, and he's such a fascinating man. The Oka crisis happened, so 35 years ago, Indigenous, they were cut, no more play on the radio, even though they were like number one. And but he's continued to push through everything and trying to expose like that Indigenous music and the culture, and he went to residential schooling, and there's so much in this one man, and he is fascinating to talk to. So to have interviewed him, I was like, wow, like that was definitely an honor. Just random cookums or aunties or ananas have been fantastic to talk to too. It's every story that you get to open that little that little heart of them and to see a little piece of them. It's such a privilege for us to be able to do that. But if I'm going to talk legends, Joséphine Bacon, who's a worldly acclaimed poet, Innu poet, we had her on an episode of Face to Face that we did in French. We had Alanis Obomsawin, like that. For me, I was like, oh my God, this little 93-year-old Spitfire that we got to talk to. Michel Odette, like politicians that are making a difference, and that we get to be welcomed into her home and bead with her like that. So it's hard to pick just one, but there's been so many people that just have had a fascinating story. The Supreme Court judge, Obomsawin, who we had in studio as well. So it's fun to, I can't pick.
Too many.
There's too many, but it's just as exciting to talk to like the little kids at daycare, our Indigenous daycare here in Montreal. So but those, I would say, like those legends, like Elisepi, like how can you not love her? I've been very lucky in the last year. Yeah.
Awesome. Maybe my final question, where are you hoping to take Nouvelles in the next year?
Well, I'm hoping that the team will get bigger. We would probably, I don't know if my associate producer or my bosses will agree, but I think we would love to have maybe more airtime in the future, like maybe French podcasts, that's for sure. We would love to translate more. Like I said, we started doing face-to-face in French because I'm like, I think it's important that these guests, yes, they can speak English, but French is their first language pertaining to English. Like it's not necessarily first language. It could have an Indigenous language, but I mean their French is stronger over their English. So for me, I'm like, why are we interviewing them in English when it's not their language of choice? I'm like, these people are important. These people should be spoken to. Let's speak to them in their their language that they're the most comfortable in. So for me, it was important to bring French episodes of Face to Face, which is why we've done Ghislain Picard, Alanis Obamsawin, Joséphine Bacon so far. We also translate some of the investigates, because again, I think that those are stories that our viewers would love to see and also deserve to see, and the work that is put into it is so grandiose. Why not have it in French? Hopefully, maybe we will have our own investigates team on the French side. That would be fun. But I just see us growing in the same way as the English side would grow. Maybe get right now we're still babies. You know, APTN's been there 25 years. We've only been here 7. So I'm hoping that as we go into teenagehood, that we just get more known. I think people just need to know that we are here. I think that's our biggest problem right now, is that we're still in the phase of people are discovering us. So I think once we are established, it would be nice to be able to have, you know, maybe more Francophone reporters elsewhere in the country, and be able to truly bring, especially in places like Winnipeg, or, you know, among the Red River Métis, or up in Nunavut, or in those places where we know that there are French listeners. It would be fun to have somebody there. So yeah, I'm giving us a very long life. Hopefully a little bit more here and there. But we're very happy with what we have and what we're doing. So hopefully everybody else is happy with what we have and what we're doing.
Awesome. Well, I love tuning in. I also love using it to improve my French.
Yeah, but your French is good. I'm hoping you'll be part of our French team soon
Maybe
enough.
one day, yeah. Well, Kim, thank you so much. It's been an amazing conversation. And yeah, we're looking forward to tuning to the next episode of APTN Nouvelles National, 6:30 Eastern.
Yes,
right?
6:30
Okay.
Eastern, Fridays. Repeated over the weekend, but you can find us on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, X, Instagram. We're everywhere.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of APTN News InFocus. I'm Cierra Bettens, and goodbye.
Homeless people aren't hard to find in Winnipeg. They're on the sidewalks, in bus shelters, and down alleyways. They're living in tents and squatting in empty buildings. They're even sleeping in abandoned cars. But who are they? And why are they here? Find out in Our Relatives, Life on the Streets, hosted by me, Kathleen Martins. Listen on your favorite podcast player.